When you were traded to the San Diego Padres, when you found out, how many phone calls did it take before you and Joe Musgrove got connected and we're back on?
No, yeah, he was my first text. I got a phone call from Mike Rizzo, the GM with the Nationals, and I shot Joe a text, and he called me right afterwards. I think I was on the phone with maybe my hitting coach or something like that, and I said, hey, I got to call you back. Joe's calling me. And he said, congrats. He just signed that big extension. He said it was the first text he woke up to, and he was pumped to have me back. So that was a cool introduction to the team.
What did he say to you about joining the Padres? I know it's a whirlwind day for both of you, but what was that conversation like?
No, that it's go time. That we have a great squad. All we got to do is come out and compete every night, and in October we'll be right where we want to be.
He said a lot of great things about you, that how great a teammate you were, and how you were going to fit in, and how hard you work. What was it like being teammates with Joe Musgrove in Pittsburgh and coming to a team that has a guy like that?
No, yeah, I could say the same thing about him. He's the first guy in the weight room, always taking care of his body, always eating the right things, and then he was a leader for the pitching staff. He's the leader here. He has meetings with them, going over hitters every day. So all the bullpen, all the starters are prepared, and he's leading the pack, doing what he has to do on the mound as well.
When you were the Nationals, and you guys know that there's a good chance that you could be traded, did you think San Diego was a likely destination?
No. I heard, San Diego for Juan. Obviously Juan's trade was a little bit bigger than mine. That was the headline. So it was the Padres, the Cardinals, the Dodgers. So we're all kind of just waiting for Juan to get traded. They said I was going to get traded first, and I was waiting. Didn't happen. And then for me to be coupled with him and be able to, trade locker rooms with him, it was pretty special. Just being able to share the flight and talk about what we need to do when we get here, and hopefully get going together.
I know we always don't appreciate how hard it is for a baseball player to go ahead and uproot his life in the middle of a season when you have families and you have your life there. Did you start packing things up early, just in anticipation that you're going to go somewhere?
No. I know my wife talked about it. She was trying to, look into the crystal ball and try to see where I was going to end up, and I told her not to worry about it. We wouldn't know until we knew, until we got a phone call. And in regards to packing, we just kind of threw some things in a suitcase. I pretty much have my whole life in it right now. But we go back to D.C. this weekend and finally be able to get some laundry done and whatnot, and see my baby girl at home. So that's what I live for. That's what I play for, and I'm excited to see her again.
That's awesome. Who spent more time? I mean, your wife has a lot to deal with now, with new baby and all. Who spent more time on Twitter looking for trade rumors? You or your wife?
Definitely her. I try to stay off that, especially that time of year. It's really easy to get distracted by the wrong things, but baseball is the most important thing on a nightly basis. You have to be prepared for the starter. You have to be prepared for your attack plan for offense and defense. And if you're not, you're trying to play GM somewhere, it takes your focus away and you miss those opportunities.
I feel quite confident by the time that I post this interview, this question will be outdated, but I do feel you guys are eventually going to go score a run.
Yeah, right. No, yeah. You look at this lineup. I was talking with Juan about it last night. That's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when we get going, I'm hoping for a win streak, something that, we can call our own, whether it's 5, 10, 12, 15 games, something that, really solidifies this lineup and helps us trust each other on both sides of the ball.
One thing that I've heard from both Padres owner Peter Seiler and your mutual agent Scott Boras is how mature a kid Juan Soto is. What's a story that you can tell us about him that we may not necessarily appreciate?
I don't know. I feel like from the moment I met him, he seemed like he was a 10-year vet. Just his approach to hitting, I feel like there's a lot of new age, trying to get the balls up in the air, try to hit homers, and he's a 23-year-old kid swinging like, talking like Albert Pujols was. I'm trying to hit a line drive right back up the middle. I'm not going to swing at balls. I'm not going to chase. And I figured that out later on in my career. A lot of people do. You get to the big leagues, you try to start hitting homers to stick around, but he got here knowing the strike zone and sticking to it, and that's why he's going to play for a really long time. Speaking
of Scott Boras, your mutual agent, we had him on the radio show today, and he referred to Juan Soto as the shining star, and you are the mission bell. Now, Scott Boras came prepared because the Mission Bell is historical here in San Diego. Do you have any idea what he's talking about?
No, I'm going to have to check out Wikipedia. But, I got something to do when I head in here. Hopefully that sticks. Hopefully I stick around. I'm definitely, blessed and happy to be here. It's beautiful every day. We have a great ball team, great atmosphere every night. So I'm definitely pumped to get going.
You're from Irving, Texas, is that correct? Now, when I first met you, we introduced you here in San Diego, and I saw Adrian Perler. I'm like, how is this guy not a football player? How did you grow up in Texas, and how were you not recruited to play football?
No, I was, but my dad never let me. He played in college, got hurt a couple of times. Knee surgery back in the 80s was not what it is today. So he had to battle back from that, and he said, you know what, if I ever have a son, he's not playing this sport. He's going to play something that is going to give him, a long-lasting career. So it was either baseball or basketball, and I found out, in high school that I was not a basketball player. I was a baseball player, and it's worked out for me so far.
Yeah, so your dad's essentially a genius. What position did he play, and how?
Receiver. Yes, but he was a huge athlete. He was one of the fastest kids in Texas in high school. He went to states for the high hurdles, the 4:10 high hurdles, just like the hardest race I think in all of track and field. And he was one of the best at it. So huge athlete, but he always wished he had played baseball because he would have had a longer career.
What are your interests away from the baseball?
I like to read. I also have a newborn, so I got to get better and better at changing diapers and teaching her now to feed herself. Used to get really good at, making bottles and feeding her, but now she's feeding herself, which is pretty fun to watch. But aside from, some reading during road trips and on flights and stuff like that, me and my wife, we watch some Netflix. We're watching Blacklist and, just try to enjoy each other's company.
That's a Blacklist? What's this about?
It's like a mastermind criminal that ends up giving himself up to the CIA or FBI or something like that, and he helps them catch other criminals before they do bad things. It's pretty brilliant. I really like the show.
Last thing, I don't think you've been active on social media, on Twitter, for a couple of years, which makes you probably a happier, more well-rounded person. But when you were on there, you were posting, things that causes that matter, including supporting black journalists in Pittsburgh. Why are those things important to you?
No, yeah, I think that everything that went down in 2020, everyone wanted to start a conversation. I really didn't know where I was going to go, but I was encouraged by teammates to maybe get going with the team and see how things worked out. We had some tough, hard conversations. It's not always easy to talk about things that make us uncomfortable, but I think that's what helps us grow in our clubhouse and in our nation. Long story short, I went from that into the mental health world with the Nationals, and I don't know what the Padres is going to bring for me, but we'll see what happens next year. Mm-hmm.